Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Way-T Lightheart from Bioptimizers with another edition of the Awesome Health Podcast. And today we're going to talk about, well, one of our favorite topics, sleep, and more importantly, how you can improve it, particularly around thermoregulation. And before you ask what that is, we got an expert to join us who understands the science behind how to get better sleep. Matteo Franceschetti, and I hope I got that right. I'm trying to get my pronunciation right, but you know, we do the best that we can.
Yeah. You speak like an Italian now, so you
all
nailed
right. My family lived next to Italians when I was in Toronto, so I was exposed to Italian culture, and I love it. It's so lively and fun. I remember crushing grapes when I was a kid, and you know, the talking with the hands and everything. But anyways, let me get to the background before we get into the fun. Matteo is the CEO of 8 Sleep, a company focused on using technology to help people optimize their sleep fitness and efficiency. They have over 40,000 customers and are quickly becoming one of the largest sleep databases in the world. Now, Matteo started his career as a business lawyer in Italy, after which he founded and sold 2 companies in clean tech. All the while, he suffered from poor sleep and RLS, and for those who don't know what that is, that's restless leg syndrome. This led him to think deeply about how sleep should be improved through technology. And one of the big questions is why is Elon Musk taking us to Mars, but we are still expected to sleep 8 hours a day on a dumb piece of phone? Matteo, great to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me and for the beautiful introduction.
Thank you so much. And so, you know, we spend a third of our lives sleeping, and some people less, some people more. Some people would say they've never been awake, and other people think that they're woke. But besides all the political ramifications, tell me a little bit about how a lawyer from Italy in clean tech ended up becoming a sleep expert, and particularly in the area of thermoregulation, which sounds like something that Elon Musk would be concerned about with his rockets on re-entry.
Yeah. So everything really started when I was a teenager. I was an athlete. I was a tennis player. So I was really into recovery, health, and fitness, and all that, you know, that an athlete will look at. And so then I became a boring business lawyer working for 2 very large law firms. And I became an entrepreneur, and I was the typical entrepreneur working long hours. And so I started looking into sleep and wondering, why do I have to sleep 8 hours? Can I sleep less and recover faster? Yeah, and as I started reading clinical papers, I understood that it's not that we need 8 hours. 8 hours is what our body needs today because there is no technology enhancing our recovery. And that is when I started saying, why Elon Musk is taking me to Mars and I still spend a third of my life on a piece of dumb foam? We have technology everywhere. We are using technology right now, you and I, because we're not in the same city. But then I spend a third of my life, 8 hours every single day on something that didn't change for 4,000 years. Because if you think outside the difference between sleeping on a rock and sleeping on a piece of dumb foam, so nothing changed in the way we spend a third of our life. So I started looking into that, how I could improve it. And I realized that there was a big elephant in the room. So the 80-20 of sleep improvement is thermoregulation. There's plenty of clinical and medical evidence that by changing the temperature of your body during the night continuously, you can fall asleep faster and get more restful sleep. And that is what we built.
This is super cool. And first and foremost, I love the thinking that you put into the start, because for those who know the show and have listened, Matt and I were in an argument an ongoing discussion or debate for about 15 years. And Matt is someone who really struggles with sleep. And I'm someone that does pretty well on sleep. And Matt argued at the time that he needed, 9 hours of sleep in order for him to feel rest and recover. He's a serial entrepreneur. And I was like, if I get more than 7, I get groggy. I prefer you running around 6 as be nice. And I feel bad if I go 8. I'm like, oh, 8, man, I just wasted some time. Anyways, we saw this book about chronotypes.
Yep.
Matt, of course, discovered after sleep technology that he had he had no deep sleep. And so he started investing. And one of the things that he talked about was thermoregulation. I would love to know how you got into, what was your thinking behind the kind of the hack that you were going to compress the time to sleep? Was that the original goal?
Yes. So our vision is based on 2 pillars. One is sleep compression, and second is to save your life. Sleep compression means, what if you could sleep only 6 hours and get more rest than when you were sleeping 8 hours?
Love it.
Doesn't apply to you, but it applies to the average human being, right?
Yep.
Saving your life means you're still spending 6 hours there every single day on this device for multiple years, standing still. And so what else can we do for you during that time? And my idea was, we should scan your body. We should be able to detect early signs of illnesses or any inflammation, right? So what if going to bed was more valuable than going to your doctor? Not because we want to replace the doctor, but because we want to give the data and the tools to the doctor of what happens in your body every single day. And that is what we're building.
It's super cool. And what was some of the things, what were some of the early experiments or things that you learned in order to start getting the data that you required?
Yeah, I mean, my co-founder and CTO is the kind of genius who can build a space shuttle in the garage. And so he started building stuff. Then I was the guinea pig testing the stuff. And so there are still pictures of the early days of the early prototypes where there were these cables and these weird sensors. And still today, I'm always a couple of years ahead of what we release to consumer. So I'm sleeping on something we will release in 2 years from now. And I can tell you it's pretty crazy. And I test it and I give feedback to my team, and then the engineers iterate. And from there, we take it to a consumer ready state.
That's super cool. So what led you to the concept of thermoregulation, and then what did you do in order to kind of achieve that? And so some people say, well, thermoregulation, does that mean you get hotter or does that mean you get colder?
Yeah. So what led us there was actually and honestly pretty simple. Once we started talking to customers, we immediately understood that the biggest problem in sleep is people tend to sleep hot. And 60% of the couples, they fight around temperature, right?
Yes.
Because they have different preferences, right? Particularly what we see is men tend to sleep hot more than women. And so they have different needs. But the other big thing is this: when you hear people saying, oh, you should sleep at 68 degrees, that's wrong. And the reason is 68 degrees could be right for 30 minutes, an hour of your night, but your body temperature changes during the night based on your circadian cycle. And so your bed temperature needs to change accordingly. So it was so overwhelming, the need from the customers, that we knew since from the beginning that we had to build it. The way we built it is we built a thermal engine that is Wi-Fi connected. There are sensors in your bed. Based on the sensors, we can detect everything about your heart rate, respiration, and sleep stages. And based on that, we keep changing the temperature during the night. Each side of the bed can have a different temperature. Temperature can range from 55 to 110 degrees per side of the bed. And so you have your own metrics and you have your own temperature that keeps changing during the night to maximize your sleep.
Okay. Wow. So this is literally, it's like using intelligent sleep system to kind of monitor. So I'm curious, is how did you know, Or how does someone determine how to regulate the temperature on someone? That's a pretty big range. You said 55 to 110?
Yeah. Obviously, these are the extremes. So the hardware is overbuilt to be able to really achieve anything, right? Because then what you will find is there are few people that can sleep at 60, and usually during the night they range between 55 and 65, So your real range is probably plus minus 5, but every person is different because body temperature is different. Not the body temperature, but the temperature needed for a good night of sleep is based on your gender, on your age, on your metabolism, or your body fat. And that is why it's so effective. Because right now, you and I, if we were sleeping in a dumb bed, it would be the same shitty dumb bed for both of us. And this bed actually would become warmer and warmer during the night because your body dissipates heats that gets trapped into the foam, which is exactly the opposite thing of what you need. But if you and we use an 8 sleep, the calibration of your temperature settings would be meaningfully different from mine.
Very cool. Now, just as a curiosity, if you think back to our ancestors maybe sleeping on the ground, I would assume that the ground would absorb a lot of the body heat and not reflect it back, where a mattress would hold that temperature and maybe reflect it back. Have you looked at the differences in that, or is that just totally ridiculous of a thought?
No, it is a good point. The way you look at that is this: our ancestors, they were going to bed when it started becoming dark. And then in the first part of the night, temperature dropped, right? So it was getting colder, which is exactly what you still need today for your deep sleep. So we cool you down in the first part of the night that matches what is happening outdoor. And then 3-4 hours before you wake up, we start warming you up again, which is exactly what is happening because now the sun in the morning is coming. So the first principle is the same. It's just that our beds were not designed for that, and our bedrooms are not designed for that. And we needed a technology to just do it for us.
So that's very cool. What kind of things are you using to monitor? What are the monitoring points that your technology is tracking?
So we measure everything about your heart rate, right? So heart rate at rest and HRV. And in the future, we are semi-medical grade accurate, meaning we are within 1 heartbeat per minute compared to a medical grade EKG. But you don't wear anything. You just go to bed as you did last night, but you have this data. Then we monitor everything about your respiration, right? So in the future, our devices will be able to track things like snoring and sleep apnea. And then we monitor everything about your sleep. So obviously time in bed, toss and turns, wake ups, and sleep stages. All these, again, without you wearing anything or charging anything.
That's really unique. And so how does this technology, obviously not revealing any patents or anything, but basically how many sensors they put in here and how does that regulate inside? And I guess you're talking about, this is a whole mattress system, or is it something you lay on the bed? Can you explain that to people?
Yeah, so we have 2 products. One is a cover and one is the mattress. The cover, you can retrofit your existing mattress. So if you don't want to change it, you just bought it, or you don't want to fight with your partner to convince the partner to change the bed, you just buy the cover. It goes over your current mattress. It has the same features of our own mattress. Our own mattress is, there are 30 million people buying a new mattress every year in the US. They need to change it. We just give you the Lamborghini of the beds. Just come to us. This is the best product ever. There are a lot of sensors across the surface. They are they're called piezo sensors. It's like a microfilm, something you cannot feel. And it really works like substantially a stethoscope. It's just a 3.0 stethoscope. So we are able to pick any vibration. Exactly, when you go to the doctor, he puts the stethoscope on your back and he can hear your heart rate and your respiration if you have asthma and all that. It's the same thing, just built with a modern technology.
I got it. Now, do you have to actually plug this bed in or plug the sheets in?
You do day 1, and then you don't do it for ever again. So for years. So it's like a TV.
So how does that work? I'm confused. Explain.
So there is, yeah. So there is a hub next to the bed. So obviously you don't sleep on the electronics and all that part. And the hub is the one that is plugged to the wall. And then this hub looks like just a console, like an Xbox, you know. And from there, the Xbox is connected with a cable to the mattress itself, because there is the liquid that is running from there into the mattress. The mattress uses water to heat and cool each side of the bed, and that is why there is a cable connecting the two.
Now, do you have to fill up the mattress periodically?
Once a quarter. So you will receive a notification in your app, and it's just a reservoir, like a coffee machine. You put the water in and you put it back, and for 3 months you can forget about that.
That's really cool. And then I guess they divide that into kind of two separate sections, so your partner can kind of dial things in for them. And is that all controlled on the same setting, like on the same hub?
Yeah, it's just one hub. One hub can power both sides, and from the app of your phone, you can control both sides, but your partner obviously can have an app as well. And so everyone can control both sides if needed.
I see. So you could just mess around with your partner. If they made you mad, you can turn up the heat.
Exactly that.
So how is it that you guys were able, like when it's monitoring your sleep, how often does it read the data? How can you check this? And is that stored is that data now fed into a repertoire, or like a repository of information that you guys are collecting to kind of make better integrations on the tech?
And now for a Bioptimizers fixed digestion tip: supercharge your protein shake. Everyone knows protein shakes are a great way to sneak in extra protein, build more muscle, even replace meals and burn more fat. The problem is the highest quality protein typically absorbs at around 40%. One way to fix this and dramatically increase how quickly and effective your protein shake digests is to add 2 to 3 capsules of Massimes into your shake. One research study showed that pre-digested protein during a meal increased muscle growth significantly. To take advantage of this, just blend the open capsules into your shake, and within 15 minutes or less, the enzymes will have begun to break down the protein into amino acids. This can make your shakes at least 2 to 3 times more potent. Some people do this and sip on their shake while lifting to provide their muscles with a steady stream of amino acids during their workout. To save 10% on Massimes, use the code SHAKE10, that's SHAKE10, at Massimes.com. That's SHAKE10 at Massimes.com.
Yeah, so the data is collected thousands of times per minute. So it's a continuous tracking. The data through your Wi-Fi, they just go to the cloud where we run the machine learning and AI, and then you see reflected the results of our machine learning models in your app. The device becomes smarter because it starts knowing more and more about you. And based on that, it starts also providing recommendation and insights. Recommendation and insights are designed in 2 buckets. One for temperature, so we can automatically adjust. We will automatically adjust for you temperature based on environmental changes or real-time heart rate or real-time respiration. So this device does the work for you. Then on top of that, we also provide recommendations about your sleep. Like, so you receive sleep reports where we can tell you things like, look, all the times that you train in the morning, you get 20% more deep sleep than when you train in the afternoon. Or all the times that you have alcohol, your deep sleep drops 40%.
Wow. Now that's really interesting data that you're now able to correlate your exercise schedule. What's the optimal time for you to exercise, which is affecting your sleep? What are some of the patterns that you've been able to document or notice over there? Is it a wide variance, or are there some generalized trends that you've been able to kind of ascertain?
So there are some common habits that have a major impact on your sleep. The most obvious and known is probably alcohol. So sometimes you have let's say a couple of drinks and you feel a bit foggy and you think, oh, I will have a better night because my mind is not racing. The reality is, if you look at your heart rate and HRV, both of them, they will trend in a negative direction. And so the quality of your sleep that night will be way worse than what you usually get. Coffee is another one. Obviously, both of them, they're very personalized, meaning when you share this information is always general, but instead the future of sleep is personalized. And so maybe you can have 2 glasses of wine and have the same impact of someone who had 4 glasses of wine. Or maybe you need to leave an hour between alcohol and sleep, while instead I need to leave 2 hours, you know?
Right.
Same for caffeine, right? The rule of thumb is stop drinking caffeine 8 hours before going to bed, but maybe you can drink up to 2 hours before, and I have to stop 10 hours earlier.
Yeah, that's funny. I have a Brazilian girlfriend, and she's like, "No, we're from Brazil. We drink coffee before we go to bed."
Yeah, Italians too.
I would suspect likely, they make such great coffee in Italy. And also, I always say we also drink yerba mate. And so there's a running joke, which is a South American green tea, highly caffeinated. And I call it Brazilian chamomile because she likes to have that in the evening.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, the variance within people on that. Now, with using that, and I love that you're able to see training times. What also are you seeing in an overall general improvements when people start using the sleep system, the 8 Sleep?
Yeah. So what we see, or they report publicly with other devices, they fall asleep up to 20% faster. They get 30 to 40% less wake ups, up to 40% less toss and turns. And reported with other devices, they have shown publicly 20 to 40% more deep sleep.
Wow.
Up to, right? Everyone is different, but there are cases of people reporting 40% more deep sleep.
And do you see any impact on total time sleeping?
There is, right? Because to a certain degree, you're falling asleep faster and you're getting more restful sleep. So maybe we didn't save you 2 hours yet, but maybe we are saving you 15, 20 minutes already. And this is just the beginning of our product roadmap.
It's really great. And then how long does it take for someone to kind of optimize their regulation based on the data and feedback typically? Because I guess it's reading all this stuff and you'd start running it. There's the temperature variance is number one. And then the next one would be kind of lifestyle things that might be impacting your sleep, like you had mentioned, coffee or caffeine, working out, or these other things. What are you noticing there?
So usually it takes around a week to find your perfect settings. Then, as we were saying before, even once you find your perfect settings, these settings change. There could be a winter storm, there could be a heat storm, you might have had alcohol, or you just had a pizza night with a lot of carbs. All these factors, they have an impact on the temperature that you need to maximize your sleep. Mm-hmm. Actually, we are running tests where we are trying to see if through thermoregulation, we can also slow your heart rate to help you recover faster, right? And can we have an impact on your HRV? And this could happen in 2 ways. One, you are on baseline, but we want to improve your baseline. Or 2 is you come to bed that your heart rate is higher than expected because you had alcohol. And can we slow it down faster than what it would do on its own without our intervention?
That's really cool. And I guess I'm curious as to what are some of the things that you're noticing around heart rate variability and temperature regulation and stuff like that. What's typically happening? And I guess the next part would be, how do you when you slow your heart down, does that generally result in a deeper sleep?
We're testing that because if you think so, the beauty of what we are doing is we have such a large number of data right now that it's something that has never existed before. And so no one has been able to really run these tests at scale. And that is why we have some of the best professors in the world from Stanford and Harvard, UPenn, Mount Sinai joining us in our mission, because in one night we collect more data than what they have seen in their whole career.
Right.
And so we are learning things that humanity doesn't know. And so there is a lot of research. And so we are exploring what you just asked me. We don't have the answer yet. We have hypotheses. But in a month or 2 months, we might have the answer, an answer that never existed in thousands of years.
That's pretty amazing. And it's one of the power of tech and data. And Matt, my business partner, has a saying that data shapes destinies. And he loves, yeah, he's a total data freak and is super into this sleep particular, because he struggled with it. He really, really struggled with it. And it's made a big difference in his life. What are other things that you are noticing from your research that's impacting sleep either positively or negatively?
So, I mean, obviously outside temperature, right? Temperature is the 80-20 of the game. Outside that is your routine. So being very regular, going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. You have a biological clock in your body. So you just want to teach your body, this is the time you should fall asleep. This is the time you should wake up naturally. Second is start winding down before going to bed. So in my case, I have Philips Hue light. They switch to orange around 7:30 p.m. and then they keep dimming down during the night. So they kind of stimulate melatonin. I take melatonin from time to time, not every day, but probably once a week. Mm-hmm. And another thing I do is, and I recommend, is what they call a thermal shock. So before dinner or before bed, I take a shower and I keep switching between hot and cold, 30 seconds and 30-second times. Or if you have the opportunity or you are in an hotel, you could try a sauna and an ice bath. That thermal shock really relaxes me and helps me to get ready to then go to bed, call it an hour later. One of the things that is worse for me, 3, alcohol, terrible. I stopped drinking 2 years ago. Caffeine and exercise in the evening or late afternoon. It accelerates my heart rate. Sometimes I cannot fall asleep. And even if I fall asleep, the first part of the night, I have really low quality sleep.
You know, that's what's so great about when you have a feedback system, particularly on your own feedback, is that you can look, here's the results. The data doesn't lie. And you make those adjustments. How many hours of sleep do you sleep now? Like, has it made a difference in the time you slept? Because that was kind of the original goal, right?
Yeah, I still sleep a lot, right? But I have restless legs, as you were saying at the beginning. So I solve a big part of that, improve my quality. I'm still sleeping between 8 and 9 hours of sleep. I have seen major impacts on my HRV and my heart rate at rest. In particular, HRV is way higher. I was sleeping less before COVID. After COVID is when I started increasing it, and my HRV went up 20% on average, which is pretty meaningful. But I improve my time to fall asleep. I reduce my toss and turns and wake ups meaningfully.
It's super powerful in regards to all those things. Tell me a little bit about the technology, the actual, like, so for example, let's say someone was going to get one of the covers or the mattresses, like, what's it made of? How easy is it to obtain? All those sort of things. How does the whole process, because it's not something you walk into your normal sleep store and get, you have to go through your company. So maybe you can walk people through that process and maybe some of the tech that's involved in that technology.
Yep. So the purchase is very simple. You go on 8sleep.com, right? Which is our website. You can buy the cover or you can buy the mattress. You know what you need. The cover can retrofit any mattress. The mattress, again, is the Lamborghini of beds. The cover is made of a cotton polyester. So it's breathable. It's pretty standard. You wouldn't notice it. You would put your bed sheet on top of that. and then there is the hub that sits next to your nightstand. It's something you almost don't see. It just disappears. You get used to that, and it's really quiet, so it doesn't bother you. Everything is controlled through the phone and through your app. So it's really like we built hardware to unlock software, right? And that is, we wanted a device that almost disappears. And the whole experience is the benefit of an improved sleep and your app experience, where you can see sleep and health reports, plus control your temperature, plus learning how to improve your sleep.
It's super, super cool. And then what typically is the price points for the technology? Some people are like, okay, I want to know how much is it to get? I know we have biohackers on here that are like, okay, I need to invest in this. What kind of prices are we talking about? Different sizes and of beds and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the cover, I think it starts around 1,600, and the bed starts around 2,500. Then it depends based on the sizes.
Now, on the bed, particularly with the mattress, like, is that like a mattress setup? Like, how does that all work? So people might want to know.
Yeah, so the bed ships in a box. So you just receive it at home. You can open it on your own. It's very easy to install. All our customers, they do on their own. We offer for some time a sort of white glove delivery, but it was not worth it because it's so simple to install it. The bed is made out of there is foam, and it's some of the best and highest quality foam you can find. We work with one of the greatest partners, multi-billion-dollar business. The point is, foam is really a commodity. That is why dumb beds, there are so many dumb beds companies, right? It's like going to the market, and it's just a matter of how much do you want to pay for the foam. In our case, we just buy the most, the highest quality one, because we are open to pay more for that. But it's like, it's almost, you have a menu and you want a great one, a good one, a medium, or a cheap one, right? But you and I, we could do the same. We don't have a foam expert. We work with the greatest foam experts, because for us, it's a commodity. All our expertise is in developing technology that improves your sleep and data.
I got it. Now, do they have variances within the firmness of those mattresses? Because some people like a softer mattress, some people like a harder mattress.
Right now, no, we recommend one only. And the reason is based on our data, that is what delivers the highest sleep quality. In the future, we might try to be even more personalized, and based on the data to try to offer, okay, are you skewed towards a softer mattress? So here is what should be better.
And then another question, because I've seen that guy on television, Mike Lindell, talking about his pillows. Do you guys know anything about pillows? Are you working on technology? Because like some people say that, and I can actually attest to this personally, that pillows definitely make a difference in how well I sleep for head position.
100%.
So any data or information that you have around pillows?
Yeah, we sell our own pillow. And it's very well received. That is still, we developed that based on our data. And that is a standard pillow. It does not include technology yet. In the future, we'll likely do. But it's a pretty good one.
Now, you're still able to read everything, though, regardless of the pillows that you're using. The sensors are able to determine that.
Yep.
That data and information. That's super cool. I mean, man, the world is just getting so really cool. So what are some of the plans upcoming for 8sleep.com, your company? We're going to put all the show notes in here and stuff like that. What do you anticipate for the future for the company, what you're working on or developing, or where's this whole ship going?
Yeah, I mean, the intelligence and the software experience will become richer and richer. So think of it like the Tesla of sleep. So through software update, your device, you might go to bed with new features that you didn't have when you woke up. And that is the power of software, and everything will be free, meaning these updates, they just come. And then on the hardware side, we're working on a couple of new products that will take us in the direction, even further in the direction of sleep compression and saving your life.
Matteo, this has been really, really cool. Any final things that you'd like to share with our team where they can reach you, follow out more information, and maybe participate in some of this research by using your tech?
Two things. One, you can follow me on Twitter or just go on 8sleep.com. I'm on the homepage, so you can find my contact details there. Two, there is always this advice I give. We call it sleep fitness, right? So think of sleep as like going to the gym. You need to put the time. There is plenty of medical evidence that sleep has a major impact on your health, on your energy, on your mood, and on your longevity. So in the 90s, there was this concept where, oh, I will sleep when I'm dead. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work anymore, right? Sleep deprivation is the new smoking. So you need to put the time, at the same time that you put to train to be fit every single day, put it. Try to sleep, whatever is the right number of hours that works for you. On average is 7 to 9 hours. For you is less, but because everything is personalized, fine, right? But put the time, never think that you're wasting your time, because you're really taking care of your body and your health and longevity.
Love it. There we have it, folks. It's 8sleep.com. You can follow along with Matteo and find the latest and greatest research. And of course, encourage you to go participate in this as a biohacker, someone who's looking to optimizing their sleep. It's a big aspect of your life. And 8sleep.com is on the forefront of compiling all this data and giving you the best information that you can to optimize your deep sleep, the time sleeping, your body temperature, and a whole lot more. Matteo, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. So wishing you a great night's sleep. It's Wade T. Lightheart from Bioptimizers. This is the Awesome Health Podcast. If you liked it and know someone who might be struggling with sleep, please refer them to it. As Matteo said, doing a little research, getting some data, and putting some effort in can make a big difference in your health, your vitality, your fitness levels, and of course, your longevity. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you on the next episode.
And now for a Bioptimizers fixed digestion tip. Turn cultured foods into superfoods. Raw fermented foods like sauerkraut and low sugar, live yogurt can be good for you, but rarely have enough of the right probiotic strains for therapeutic benefit. So here's a way that you can turn them into superfoods. What I do is I get some raw sauerkraut or a healthy yogurt. Ideally, it's grass-fed or coconut-based, and you can empty 3 caps of P3OM into a container and mix it up thoroughly. Leave it at room temperature for a couple of hours before putting it back into the fridge. And what's going to happen is these probiotic levels will be multiplied. In fact, it doubles every 20 minutes. And then what you're going to get is you're going to have a food with strong proteolytic activity. To learn more about P3OM and why its patented strains make it the strongest probiotic available, go to www.bioptimizers.com.
Thank you for listening to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. You can find more information at bioptimizers.com.